You're all happy.
Next time we're.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. This will be an open meeting and notice of given to the public at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by forwarding the complete agenda of the O'Connell County Reporter and all other news and media who have requested the same. Copies of the complete agenda were available for inspection at the office of the city administrator. 6 P.M. Notice of public hearing on special assessments for public improvements in the city of O'Connell, Wisconsin. Please take notice that the governing body of the city of O'Connell, Wisconsin has declared intention to exercise its police power in accordance with 66.0703 stats to levy special assessments upon property on Spies Road and Yacht Club Road for benefits conferred on the property by the improvement of the following streets and the installation of curb and gutter and driveway aprons for OC-24-1. Report showing the proposed plans and specifications, estimated costs of improvements, and proposed assessments is on file in the municipal clerk's office and may be inspected there during any business days between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. You are further notified that the governing body of the city of O'Connell, Wisconsin, will hear all interested persons or their agents or attorneys concerning matters contained in the preliminary resolution authorizing the assessments and in the above described report at 6 p.m. on the 17th day of September 2024 at the O'Connell Municipal Building in the O'Connell Chambers, 1210 Main Street, O'Connell, Wisconsin. All objections will be considered at this hearing, and therefore the amount of assessment will be finally determined. All parties for and against will be heard at this time. If anybody has anything against or for these assessments? Again, are there any parties for or against these assessments? The third time, are there any parties for and against for these assessments? Motion to close the hearing, please. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed. Okay, immediately following the meeting of the regular council with the following agenda. Meeting called to order. Roll call.
Mayor Martin,
Here.
Gerald Anderson,
Here.
T. Don Levy, here, Bob McGrath,
Here.
Riley Soul,
Here.
Lori Stenstrop, here, Dan Zeller,
Here.
Attorney Alvarez.
Number 3, there's a little change. Dan Zeller will be giving the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Give the council members wisdom and guidance on the items before us. May we listen with an open mind and with respect to everyone's opinions.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to item 4, approval of agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as stated.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the agenda as stated. Approval of minutes as presented from city council and any special council meetings. Any questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried to approve the minutes as presented from city council and any special council meeting. Moving on to item 6, public input. Yes. Barry.
I'll just give some board of public works updates. I wasn't here last week, so I'll kind of catch everybody up to date. The welcome signs at the north and south entrance and then on Highway 22. I know Alderperson Zeller had talked to me about the maintenance of those three, so we sent our board of public works crews out there. Everything cut down on all three of them. I'm still working with the property owner on the south visitor sign, so those do sit on private property, so I want to make sure that before we go up there and start cutting, that we're not infringing too much on what he wants us to cut down on his property. And then he also mentioned that there's also a light pole in that, and we'll also get that addressed, hopefully here in the next week or two. Crews are out, doing overhangs. I sent out about 75 ordinance violation letters last week. It's just more of a notification of, letting the homeowners know that there is an ordinance regarding tree overhangs over sidewalks and streets. Overhangs and sidewalks are 8 feet, and overhangs in the street are 16 feet. So if there are trees in the right of way, our crews are taking care of those right now. If there's any branches that are overhanging into the road that are less than 16 feet, even if they're on private property, we're taking care of those too, just because most residents don't have the means to reach up that high. And the reason that it's 16 feet on the street is that obviously in the winter time when we're plowing with our graders and our loaders, we're hitting those branches and we're snapping them, and obviously that's not good for the tree roots. So we've got a few people that called up on it, not really a whole lot of concerns. They understand it. There's some more people out there that are struggling and having a tough time getting at those, and I just told them to give us a call, and then when we're in that area taking care of our own stuff, we'll take care of our stuff. Give you a couple of maps in front of you, and just more so letting you know those are 2 vacant lots that our board of public works crews take care of. The first one, the smaller one, is a vacant lot located on the south side of McDonald Street. So as soon as you come off of Share Ave, right on the left-hand side, there's a small vacant lot. There was a house that burnt quite a few years ago. It's no longer a buildable lot. If you were to put a minimum, which would be 800 square feet home on that, it wouldn't meet the setback requirements. So again, basically, all we're doing is just cutting it on a weekly basis or a regular week basis. I think that's something you should think about and maybe offer it to the owner on the corner or the owner on the west side, which would be Katie Belangi. Just something to think about. And then the second one I have is a property that's located on Superior Ave, just south of Memorial Drive on the west side. They've got it highlighted. There's a driveway that comes all the way back, and you can see kind of that empty lot back there. That's a buildable lot right there. There is no services. They would have to pull the services off of Superior Ave if you were to build there. That back wooded area is actually in the wetland, so that would not be buildable, but the front portion would be buildable. And looking at that square footage, you could build back there. Or again, maybe the new homeowners of Mary Use's place that's in the front of that, they can be interested in it. We've had for sale signs out there in both those lots, and no interest at all. So my thought process is, even if we damn near give them away, at least they're on the tax roll and we have no maintenance requirements for it. So it's something to think about. If you want to bring it up at next council meeting, what you want to do with them, maybe take a ride by, take a look at them, and go from there. Any questions on those two guys?
The one on McDonald Street, would you, before you offer it to one or the other, would you consider offering it, splitting the lot? Is it, could each got a little more yard or not? Just a suggestion. That's kind of what I did when I bought that one next.
Yeah, it's something you can definitely could do that. Let's say if you propose that, and you give half to one and half to the other, let's say you were just gonna give it to them. If you were to give it to them, then I'd maybe make the requirement that you're also required to complete a CSM, to combine those two properties and give them so much time to do that. You know, CSMs aren't cheap nowadays, they're gonna, in that area, I'm guessing it's kind of anywhere between $700 to $1,200, somewhere in that range, but something to think about. We'll bring it up next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
Yep, I got a few other things, sorry. Our recycling grant is due October 1st. I'm hoping to have that completed, by the end of this week. Also been working on it today, we had a couple water main breaks, on the corner of Fourth and Collins, and I helped Matt repair that, and we've got another one up on the highway, up by Ray Michelle, that's gonna have to be addressed at some point before the cold weather comes. We, also have a landfill inspection done, first one in my 22 years here, at the closed landfill, which would be on the northwest corner, better known as our transfer station or by the Street Golf Course. It's on a 40-acre site. The actual closed cap of that landfill is roughly about 17 to 18 acres. The DNR is now requiring every 5 to 7 years to be going through and inspecting all those capped landfills to make sure that we're still within the maintenance requirements when those landfills were capped. Talking with the DNR, they were impressed that the condition of our capped landfill compared to most that they've been on. We've got 14 monitoring wells that sit on that site. And then there's actually 3 monitoring wells that are off-site. So there's a monitoring well that's on the corner of Irish Greens Golf Course. There's one on the Belangi property across the street from Albany, at the Amish, this is now, and then one a little bit down the road. So those get tested every quarter. Costs us about $1,800 to $2,500 to test those every quarter. I then talked to Dre from the DNR about lowering those maintenance requirements or those testing requirements to either biannually or yearly. There's a $1,650 review fee to do that. I'll start looking into that, and if we can do that, if we can save ourselves anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 a year, I think that's worth looking into. Outside of that, it was just small little issues that they had. Making sure that in a couple of the bare spot areas that we had vegetation, and then their monitoring wells themselves were completely locked, and then they had the completed well number with the DNR code on the top of that case. I mean, those are simple requirements, and we'll make sure those get done within the next 30 days. And then the last thing, let's see what else. I gave you the update on the property cleanups and citations. You should have those with you. They just completed the annual certification per DOT. That has to get sent in every year. Basically, I reviewed the 42 miles of roads that we have in the cities, making sure there's no changes or additions to those, no vacating. Then I also put a maintenance list together for the DOT of all the roads that we either crack fill, shoulder, any type of maintenance work, new construction. Those all get calculated into our state aid at the end of the year. So that's done once per year, and I complete that a few weeks ago. So that's all I have.
Any other public input?
Jeremy, question for you.
Yeah.
So when a citation or a letter is sent out, how much time are given for residents to either comply or respond in regard to that?
So it all depends on what it is. Typically 7 to 14 days. If a homeowner calls me up and asks for an extension, I typically will give them an extension. Because at least they've reached out to me. And as long as they're making progress, I will. I'd rather not deal with a citation and then it becomes a war all the time with them. But we have cited, and we're actually be setting a few this week. Because there's some of them that just don't even get a citation. They show up to the park, get a citation, say we're giving another month, we come into the park, get a citation, and nothing ever gets cleaned up. So those we're gonna start citing on a daily basis.
I was gonna say, do we have escalation process?
Yeah.
Non-compliant?
Yeah, we're gonna actually start hitting those on with a daily citation, to make sure we get those properties cleaned up. But typically, I try to work with them and give them extensions as long as we see progress on it.
In some cases, Jeremy has offered to a property owner, to bring the stuff out to the curb, he'll pick it up and then put it on the tax roll. And they charge him.
So we have set amounts, like, is it like one amount that we charge for citation, or is it vary, depending on what the issue is?
Oh, that's a better question, because I know that the citations can range anywhere between like $125 to $375. So I think most of them, when it comes to like a safe and unsanitary, I believe it's like 319 or 328, 313, something like that. So it's enough. Again, well, usually, typically I'll send out a warning letter and getting it addressed before I write out a citation. Now, if it's an ongoing issue with a property owner, then it may just issue the citation. I don't even issue a warning letter. Because if I've already sent you 3 warning letters, I shouldn't have to send you a 4. You know, so.
Any other public input?
Jack Urban, 361 Van Dyke, manager, Brothers 3 for my wife. 2 things. Number 1, big heads up, Harbor Masters, Johnny B, Jeremy, et cetera, that whole batch. I hear every week how fishermen love it here, people love it here. Beautiful town, people are kind, some people deal with their golf cart, which I don't think that's a big one, but I can that. But so be it. Big thing for me, I heart this at tourism, we have to emphasize that. The last thing anybody ever brings up to me is the cost. It doesn't even register. So let's keep emphasizing that, keep moving that forward. Special thanks to the harbor guys. That's awesome work. So. Number 2, Riley talked a little bit last week tourism thing. We are trying to put up a visitor center in Bond Park. If anybody has any questions, wants to know more, let me know or run early. I'm sure Lynn will take the questions. It's going to be about 14 feet. High schoolers are going to do it. They're going to pour the creek. They might even work with Shade or whoever does the electrical to do some of the electrical work. So be a nice little project for that. So any questions on that?
I just have one, Jack.
Sure.
Have you talked to Johnny B on where you're gonna position it?
Yep, we're gonna put it, it'll be, as you're looking at the playground equipment, there's that dry gravel walkway with the stuff, be to the far left, up against the, what do you call that, where they walk. Walkway. So that way they can walk in there when they're walking. And he said, because I didn't know that you guys even, I thought they pushed the snow on it, but you guys don't. So we don't have to worry about that. So we put it right, buttress it up against that edge. Unless you're just somebody else wants something different. I don't.
Okay.
I think it's a big thing. I think Riley emphasized is it's a beautiful project coordinated with the high school.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
I like it, so.
Yes, Steve.
Jack, do you have an ETA, what you guys are kind of, what you kind of target for it?
Sometime between now and next July.
I don't know.
I really get on it, I'm gonna be facetious ass, sorry. It really boils down to their schedule at the high school. And if anybody sees Sean Borat, please tell him thank you, they've been fantastic. I went up to the building trades class and I actually had some renewed confidence in our high school kids, so it made me feel good. But they're basically on their schedule, they can punch it out this fall. They only get like 2 hours a day or something like that. When it's free labor, you kind of take it. My guess is spread, but that's a guess.
Great, thank you, Jack. Any other public input? We move on to number 7, correspondence. Any correspondence? I just have one thing to say. Some of the council members and some other people have been getting scam emails from me requesting to pay an invoice on Venmo or whatever. The best thing you can do, folks, is block it immediately. Don't even reply to it. So it's coming a fake email, and it's got my name, and then it's a totally different email. You're gonna get an email from me, it's either gonna be from my Outlook account or the mayor's account, it ain't gonna come from any other account, so. Just so you watch out. Any other correspondence? Moving on to number 8, approval of consent agenda. I'll read these all off and then we will, vote on. 8A, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, termination of the housing authority. 8B, approval of mayoral appointment of David Bukowski to the technology committee for a 1-year term ending May 1st, 2025. 8C, approval of mayoral reappointment of Janine Hornblatt to the technology committee for a 1-year term ending May 1, 2025. 8D, approval of mayoral appointment of Ron Dahl to the zoning board of appeals for a 3-year term ending May 1st, 2028. 8E, approval of mayoral appointment of Gene Felt to the board of review for a partial 5-year term ending June 1st, 2027. 8F, approval of mayoral appointment of Rob Lane to the board of review for a partial 5-year term ending June 1st, 2028. 8G, approval of mayoral appointment of Kim Reisbeck to the Parks and Rec Committee for a 5-year term ending August 1st, 2029. 8H, approval of mayoral reappointment of Carrie Hughes to the Ethics Board for a 3-year term ending July 1, 2027. 8I, approval of mayoral reappointment of Marcia Present to the Ethics Board for a 3-year term ending July 1st, 2027. 8J, approval of mayoral reappointment of Helen Weber to the Ethics Board for a 3-year term ending July 1st, 2027. 8K, approval of mayoral appointment of Rick Schultz to the Building Inspection Ad hoc Committee. 8L, approval of mayoral appointment of Ken Hayes to the Harbor Commission for a partial 3-year term ending August 1st, 2026. And a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve consent agenda. Number 9, discussion, action, recommendation on the following old unfinished business. 9A, an ordinance regarding revision of the government and administration ordinance and the municipal code of ordinance for the city of Oconto, creation of a tourism commission. You all have that in your packet, and indeed we captured all of the revisions. Is there any other questions or comments or revisions or? Yes, Bob.
Once we pass this commission, when do we dissolve the tourism committee? I don't think we should vote. And I know I've talked about it.
I think rather you addressed it in the committee was whatever we decide.
I think we should first add to an agenda item to discuss at our next meeting. So, it's just have a talking point with the possibility of, I know, different people have different feelings on it, but it seemed like the group was willing to, for the benefit of the city, if whatever we need to do, then to get tourism commission for the city. And that involved redundancy of committees, it seemed to make sense to us that we want to do it necessary, but I think we should at least all discuss it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a long discussion because you guys do have quite a large budget still available. I mean, I would think at least for the next year, so you can oversee your projects that you're doing and spend that money if you need to, or, so we can put it on the next agenda to have a conversation, because there's a lot more that goes into it than you think.
And maybe you want to keep a small committee, it's all things that, you're right, we need to discuss that.
Yeah, we can eventually get there. important discussion.
Yeah.
It felt like we were open to one to do, you know.
Okay, any other comments? Yes, Dan?
I'd like to make a motion that we hold off on the tourism commission until we have the room tax ordinance squared away. I believe the commission is a good thing, I just don't want to rush it and then have to revisit it. We also don't know what the budget would be because the room tax ordinance is not complete and we have talked about redoing some of that.
Yes, Bob?
Actually, we would probably have to do some sort of budget, even if we did have the tourism committee, because the tourism commission is basically only getting funds for, I believe, no one signed off on the Airbnbs. We still won't have, so by January first, I would think we would have at least some idea of how many we have across the board. So I would believe there is, if we had the commission, we did have the tourism committee, we still have to probably give them X amount of dollars to get started. It probably wouldn't be as much as it would with the regular budget.
The motion on the floor by Dan. Is there a second?
I've got a question on, this goes to a commission. Who's gonna be taking care of all the people, the bookkeeping, because you're still gonna have to set up the agenda for the meetings, you're still gonna have to show your money is coming and going from. Who's gonna be doing
I mean, I have a question also on this. One question that I have is, in one of the last meetings that we had, we talked about potentially having a on-staff paid person. My question is, who would do the hiring of that on-staff paid person? Would that be the council? Would that be city? Would that be commission? And then who, if they're not fulfilling their job duties, who would make the decision if that on-staff paid person is left over? So I feel like there's a lot of questions that I don't have answers to make the determination on this. So until some of those questions are answered for me, I am seconding Dan's motion.
Okay, we have a second on the floor. Discussion. Yes, Rick?
There's a lot obviously that is going to need to continue to change with the future update to the existing room tax ordinance to change the pick for me and that sort of thing. That being said, this draft that's in front of us, I think we honed in on very well what I think is best for the city, what the tourism committee thinks is best for this community. So I'm strongly in favor of, working with this ordinance tonight, so I get it, you want more information is gonna come, as we go along, we're never gonna know every single last detail about it. This is giving a lot of power to the commission to make choices for itself. The choices that it's not gonna be able to make for itself is those about $10,000 that we chose that amount there. So if there was a contract written to an employee or someone else, if it's an exceeding of $10,000, it's gonna still have to come to the council. The council's still gonna have kind of the ultimate on those larger expenditures from that, and that's right in there on number 3. And then, Daryl, to address your concern, number 4, it does say the commission may utilize the services of the city administrator, city attorney, or city officials from time to time. I get it, it's on Brittany, unfortunately. I think that we get to the point, I was looking at, I just want to bring up some of the numbers again from, I should have brought up before the meeting, the Algoma numbers. I know they may have more tourism than us, but they're 3,000 population city with a 6% room tax, and ours would be 8%. Their room tax revenues were 150,000. So even if we come in at half of that, at 75,000, we're going to be far over what our previous tourism budget was. So the numbers that are coming in are very preliminary. We don't have any of the VRBOs in there at all, none of the local hotels are in at all. There's a lot more coming, so there is a ton of unknowns of what is that final number going to be. And I think all of us, or at least I'm confident that budget's going to take care of itself, but I understand how Bob feels that there may be some sort of supplemental, something that may need to be a little stopgap in that first year. With that being said, I don't want to drag my feet on this anymore. We've been going through this. This has been since January of last year. This room tax thing kind of first started. And I'm super comfortable with the wording on this draft in this ordinance. And I think the way it's try to figure out, unless you have a very specific list of points that we want this information on, I think a lot of it's right there in the ordinance as far as who's going to do the filing and how these bigger expenditures will be handled and things like that. So I totally understand why you want to slow it down, but I definitely want to keep going with it.
Yes, yeah.
It's not that I want to slow it down. I don't want to do this every month, every other month, we have to change it because something else changes. It's like the room tax that was done. It wasn't done complete, it was done very quickly. Not everybody that should be taxed is taxed in it. And also on expenditures in excess, on that number 3, the $10,000. It was stated that, I believe that $10,000 is the norm for expenditures. That's for the other commissions and utilities. They also have over $1 million budget. So that $10,000 is only 1% of their budget. The way it looks right now, if this was passed, $10,000, if you take the committee's $33,000 or whatever, and right now there's $12,000 for room tax. Even to be very happy to double that, that's $57,000. So 1% of that is $57. We're not, to me, $10,000 is way more than we need. If it was small, it'd be different, but 10,000 right now is 20% of the budget, their budget, projected budget. So I don't think we're playing apples and apples here with $10,000.
You're suggesting trying to approve every $500 spend that gets commissions from you?
I'm not saying $500, but I don't think $10,000 is, you're not gonna have any truck repairs or anything else. From what I've been hearing the last year or so, like the tourism committee, well, I could be wrong, glad to be corrected, is $1,000. $1,000 here, $1,000 there, $1,000. And every event in town or around is well known in a year in advance. It should be no problem coming back to the committee or the council with any money, asking for any money. That's inside the budget.
The whole point of creating this commission is so they can have their own budget, not to have to go run the council for
Yeah.
every expense.
And I'm okay if there's an amount, but I think 10,000 is just crazy money. Too much, is my opinion. That's,
Darrell?
You were talking about a city here a moment ago that like 150,000 they're up to now.
And then we used to,
I don't need to see that. Thank you. But how long did it take that city to realize that kind of? It wasn't, I'm sure it wasn't the first year.
correct.
Correct, so
This was just. in
what
the last
I'm
year.
looking at is so far, we've got 2 quarters and we've taken in $6,000 or whatever it is.
Well, depends on if you're around 70% to 30% or 100%.
Now, would it be fair enough to say that the first 2 quarters of the year are probably gonna be better quarters? because that's when the weather is the best, and some people are moving around, and some people are wanting their B&Bs.
Somebody said.
So can you actually say if for the first two quarters we get $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, we're actually going to get the same amount in the second quarter?
No, I don't think any.
So we have a lot of unknowns, a lot of variables in there, and that's kind of scary.
Is there potential, and this is a frank question, that this dollar amount could be reduced and then changed in the future, or is that
Oh, that's
just comment?
I think we're losing a point here, because basically what we're doing is we're making an ordinance to create a tourism development commission. I believe you have to have a commission before you can do anything at all. Where the money is going, this is an ordinance to create a commission. This is what we're looking for, this is what their duties are. It's just like the tourism committee, if you look in the ordinance book, there you find that there's duties for every committee or commission there is. So we're basically making a starting point where we are now. It's an ordinance to create a tourism development commission. And if we don't have a commission, we can't appoint anybody. We don't know who the entity is gonna be unless we have a commission, right?
No, right now the entity is 10-4.
Is it? Okay, now it's 10-4, but after we set the commission and have the commission, that can change.
Correct.
So
In the amount that goes to whatever.
it can change too.
If you change from TEDCO
Yes.
and bring it to the city, that means somebody within the city has got to handle all the money, the reporting, do we have to file a special, tax entity?
a quarterly report with the city.
Actually, the commission would have to take reports out to the city. So whoever's the entity is, it's gonna just be the commission. I sure don't want to have a good time. I'm not going to solve the book, I'll tell you that. But we need someone that can do the book with, so this would be right here by state law. Yes, for now, but if we had to go to the entity, say right here, the commission shall provide a report set with our section of Wisconsin Department of Revenue and some non-reporting penalties. So they have to report to the internal revenue. So there's a lot for this commission to do. But I think we have to create a commission so we know what direction we're going. I mean, we can sit here and say, well, I don't like the 10,000. Make it 3,000, whatever, but you still have to make a commission to get it started. I mean, otherwise you might as well just leave the tourism committee. And I don't think we can with the 8% rule.
Well, it's going to 10-4. If we do nothing, which I'm not suggesting, but if we do nothing, it keeps going to 10-4, and 10-4 is responsible for spending it.
And then we are going to get 7%. Because they're going to take their 30% for credit.
No, we keep the 30%, and the 70% that they get, they
Well, yes,
have
we
to
would get
spend
30, they would
towards
get
the
the 70
city.
for the promotion.
They can't just spend it all they want, it has to be spent towards the city.
He has a question or comment?
Just a couple of things. Dan, to your point, when this was all started with the city and the city was aware that we needed to get moving forward with this tax, you are correct. And to Bob's point, a lot of things changed from the starting jump-off point to this, that state statutes were driving a lot of the stuff. So the city compiled this and put it together based on what we knew at the time, correct? And so things had changed from a state perspective, so we had to change as whatever the state had demanded that we change it to. What I'm hearing a lot of is concerns about accountability. You're concerned about how the money's spent, you're concerned about how much they should spend. I mean, this is just a jumping off point, like Bob's point, it's just a jumping off point to get the committee together, and obviously these things need to be worked out and ironed out. Today with having 10-4, there's not a lot of, no different accountability right now. I mean, they're not giving us really any reporting that we did recently. I think we had them give us some reports. So they were not doing any of this stuff anyway, that now the commission's gonna be responsible for doing. I mean, it clearly says in item E, 2E, that there are obligations that this commission has to, on a monthly basis, give reports to the city. So they need to have accounting information as far as what is being spent, how it's being spent, they need to turn in the budget to the city, so there's definitely accountability points here that this commission is definitely gonna be responsible for. How it's gonna look in the future, they don't know, they may hire somebody, they may tap into somebody in an accounting firm to help with that.
Also, I just wanted to say that this committee is appointed by the mayor, so it really falls on faith in the mayor and making good appointments to the committee. Just like, I mean, that's one of the perks of being mayor, you get to pick who's on the committee. So, you know, this committee has not been chosen. I don't think anyone has determined, who's gonna be on this commission. That's at the mayor's, the way that this ordinance is written would be at the mayor's discretion. And I think that it is important to allow them that aspect of their duty, to fill those seats. Now, at this point, because it's new, the mayor could fill the whole entire thing, but moving forward in the future, whoever's the next mayor would get to fill the council seats plus each year one citizen, so that they can't completely overhaul things moving forward. But ultimately, just like with all the committees, it really lies on the mayor to make those appointments each year, in April. So if that helps, I guess, kind of put you at ease, it's putting your faith in the mayor appointments, just like any of the other commissions for something like this.
And there, if you look at item number 2 in red, this would be a 3-year term with 1 member term expiring annually. So, Darryl?
If you're not happy with the amount, so if you're not happy with the $10,000, but you want to get this rolling, and you just determine that number tonight, and then move forward, and then you can always change it. So let's say you choose, I'm just telling you, let's say you choose $3,000, and as you get going with this commission, and you feel that it needs to be raised or lowered or whatever, then make a change there, but to get it going, change the number if that's what it takes to get the commission going.
Right?
You know, and I'm in favor of doing that.
Jeremy,
I
I appreciate that, and for what it's worth, if that is one of the main holdups, I'm not stuck on that number. If that makes, Dan, if that makes it feel better, I would be willing to, whatever, I don't really, I care, but I care more about getting this ordinance going than I do about what that number is, I guess. For what it's worth.
And that number really came to be consistent with the Harbor Commission. That's how that 10,000 came off. So,
Yeah, we actually had dropped it from 15 down to 10 to be in line with what the other commissions are doing. I'd like to address this according to Brittany. So Brittany, as far as your impact and your working well with this, do you think it would be any more or less about the same about what you're doing right now?
Well, of course, it would be more work because it's more filing, but similar.
So again, taking into consideration your busy, but looking at this, I just want to understand kind of what the impact is on your portion of this as well.
Not concerned about consultants.
Okay.
Would this, would I, if it was more fair, could we, if the committee could maybe compensate someone for filing that form, whether it's one of the organizations or one of the non-voting members, or whether it's whatever, maybe just a monthly invoice for filing, or a quarterly invoice for filing that, so it isn't a burden on, or at least that there's some sort of a exchange there for whoever's doing that filing. Because they should have some sort of a qualification, or some sort of an accounting background, like Bob said, I don't want to be the one filing that form or whatever, but when we figure out who that is, or when the commission determines who that is, they could choose to pay that, to make that filing for them, to make sure it's done properly.
I don't think it's too expensive for them to be honest with you, but.
Yes, Bob. Actually, I think the reason why the 10,000 is in there is because then it moves ago, it used to be 3,000 in the city council, city administrator, back then, Sarah. And then they said that there was a lot of bills, especially emergency bills, that made it uncomfortable, and they raised it. I think it's 10,000. As a commission, 3,000, I'm fine with that. 2,000? Well, there's a lot of things that, if you come, like, the airport or the Harvest Fest, that's $3,000 involved there, isn't there? Because I believe that's their package from the officers. That's normal now.
Jeremy? I'll say just as a business owner, is that I think that, you know, again, you haven't decided who's gonna be on that commission. And for me as a business owner, I want to make sure that any money that's being spent in that, by that commission is gonna have an impact on all businesses. And I realize that some are gonna have more of an impact than others, but I hate to see that if that number is too big, that maybe some money is getting put towards certain businesses and not everybody else is seeing it like that. That would be my concern as a business.
And does anybody have a problem putting that $10,000, 3,000?
Be up to you to amend your motion.
Well, the motion's already made, so we have to address that motion before we make any other motions. We can't change it now, we would have to just vote on it.
Maybe it's simple.
You know, you just vote.
Well, you can vote it instead.
If that helps get this going, I'm okay. I mean, like you said, nothing's forever. If it needs to get reamended at a later time, I'm okay. So, what's that? You have more too?
Yeah. The commission membership, it was 5, 3, the council, and then 2 citizens.
Nope,
Oh, once, well,
the other way around.
it was original draft was 3 councils and 2, and then it was amended to be 2 members of the common council. And then, advisory, or, and then 3 members of the citizen members. Do you have any problem going back to 3 and 2?
I think it's perfect the way that it is. I think it should be a majority of citizens on that, for the reasons Jeremy mentioned. The council already has the full power, but basically then put 3 council members on that committee that are already on half of the votes. So basically the council still controls the full breadth of that committee, whereas if the citizens have more votes on it, or at least half, the citizens have a little bit of clout in making sure that the monies are dispersed a little bit more evenly and things like that. I mean, I feel pretty strongly that.
And I go the opposite way, where if we get 3 citizens and 2 of them happen to be, don't take this in any bar owners, and then you only need 1 council member, where the council, I believe, is going to be more fair and open to making sure it's equal.
The council then have the final say on any bigger expenditure,
And big,
so they can still kind of trump anything bigger. So,
And then leaning back, you're trusting the mayor's judgment of who is putting on these committees as well, if they're going to be not that minded, but definitely open and honest about having conversations. So,
Yeah, I hope we all are.
You also have to remember that one of those people have to be from the hotel motel.
Right.
So that's one person right there, so if you have 2 more citizens and 2 more city council people, then I think it's really valid. I just think that no matter who you put on there, just because you're a business doesn't mean that you're gonna get special treatment. Is there gonna be 2 borrowers? I don't know how many people you can appoint them, doesn't mean they want to be on it. It doesn't mean that elected. It goes to the council, basically, who you put on the commission, right?
Sure, just to address a couple of things real quick for clarification.
Can you stand up, please?
I'm sorry, just to clarify a couple of things, my tourism committee now, to address Lori's concern, would not be an employee, would be, and I want to call it independent contractor or contracted person, who I would think that tourism commission would want to be doing a lot of grant writing, which becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, which I addressed a couple months ago. But it becomes just a bigger cycle and it can generate more revenue. I would think that the new commission would want that. So that's area number 1. Number 2, I agree completely with Dan for the lower the cost, 10,000 maybe sounds like a lot too. And in addition to that, I would think the commission would come with you every project they had, because I think the input is good from everybody. So whoever that would be, I don't think that, I'm not speaking for all of us, but I think most of us would be fine with that. Because it should be addressed anyways. Kind of. But I don't think their plan was ever to hire an employee. Whatever you call it, independent, well, would it be a contractor?
And we don't know if.
Well, Jetcore's not an employee.
And then,
Right.
We don't know if we need to pay anybody.
Correct. Just for clarification.
Yep.
I think that conversation too is a ways down the road. We definitely are not making enough money to afford that at this point. So I think that conversation is definitely not going to be happening this year, but once it starts bringing in more revenue, then I think that's a good conversation to have with that.
So then we'll be at, basically for the commission and the people that would be meeting once a month, will be doing all of the different reports, the different everything, so it would be members that are volunteering, doing all of this paperwork and all of this stuff, correct?
Well,
How's this
that she'll be
written
doing the five, just like she does our financials right now for the tourism committee. She crunches the numbers, looks at her expenses, and she's doing that for us currently. It wouldn't be much different than that. So yeah, there still is a level of running the numbers for us. Not like I run our budget numbers at the back of our agenda. I'm not the one, no one on our committee is crunching the numbers, Brittany's doing that. So it would remain mostly the same.
And I guess what my thought on that is, it's like on my Park and Recs committee, Johnny Bostic comes and brings me my budget, and I go through that. On the meeting I was on last night, you bring your budget, you do your budget, you do your budget. So that's where I'm looking at the tourism committee, who's gonna be doing the budget, and it's for Nick, to break me out to do this budget.
I'm
Where
sure
is, Ted Core, would they have been doing it for us previously, or?
Yeah, I think I would now.
I guess my holdup on this is I'm for the commission, but this is kind of where my little bit of holdup is on this. Does Ted Core represent other communities, other municipalities?
Yes.
So they have that background. We are gonna be forming a commission that does not have any of that knowledge, any of that background with this. So we're starting from zero, basically. Where my thought is with Tedport, they've got this in their back pocket. They know what they're doing. As Louise heard Jamie talk when she came here a few months ago or whatnot, the indication was getting this set up online where they can make these payments online. Is anyone gonna be from that commission able to do that? Are we gonna be able to get that set up? Whereas they know that, how to do that.
Just so everybody understands, we're not.
We're not
If we-
losing Tedport, I know that, they'll still be there.
If we vote tonight on this, right here, we say this is moving forward, it doesn't mean we fire Tedcore tomorrow. We are not prepared to do that at this point. And again, Tedcore has not spent one single dime of that money without our approval. That will continue as long as they are our tax entity. So
But if we take them to a commission, are we gonna kind of lower what they would be doing? Are we gonna give them less responsibility because we're gonna be the acting commission now?
at this point, no, because Tedcore, they have the staff to do the marketing of now, I don't think we've got a final draft yet, have we yet? From Tedcore on what they're suggesting.
I didn't have Audra.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Lance.
I just wanted to remind you that we want Tedcore sitting at the table. We want the Chamber of Commerce at the table. We want them on this committee as non-voting members. So number one, the bottom number one, an advisory member from the Board of Chamber of Commerce and an advisory member from the tourism entity may be at the commission. So these people are on the committee, they just don't vote on budget stuff. So we have these experts in the room on the committee as long, we want that, we need that, we need their expertise in there. And again, to reiterate, currently, thank you so much, Brittany, for helping the tourism committee with the financial stuff and doing that, and for offering in the event that a commission gets formed to continue those sorts of things. And the only extra is on the quarterly filing form. I mean, it's extra, and I thank you very much for taking that on, but it's something that is handled currently by Brittany and would presumably continue to be handled by her. And then we would also, something that we're not currently getting at the tourism meetings, we don't get Chamber of Commerce member or tech, or they don't come to our meetings anymore. They haven't been to our meetings this entire year. And we need to get that back at the table in front of a commission. So it's a unifying thing, and truly, if this goes as expected and the budget is exceeding what our current budget is, which is the hope, more money can go back out to these entities. So truly, we give TechCorp a couple grand each year for various different marketing efforts, like we do with Lyman for other things. We currently give them a small amount, $1,000 to $2,000 a year. Presumably, we can now maybe double that to these other entities if our budget is higher for these revenue streams. It's not really taking away from them. It actually expands our ability to fund them further. But that's part of the reason why we can't have them voting members on that board, because we're going to be giving money to Chamber, if we're going to be giving money to these entities. Because I don't believe, if I was, on that board, I don't think that board is going to try to keep everything all for ourselves. It's just being able to say, okay, let's give a bigger budget to work with instead of just what council has. Now we have a bigger budget, now we can make those decisions instead of giving less to each year like we've had to do to TechCorp and to these other entities around town. We'll be able to actually get more people, truly. And I would hope that it's not a really selfish committee where they're not going to be doing sponsorships to a bunch of different businesses in the community. I think that's kind of the hope. To have more money to spread out in more places, including TechCorp. I would hope TechCorp will get more funding than in years past, and Chamber of Commerce will get more funding than in years past from this commission. But they can't be voting on, sending money to themselves, but they also have such invaluable expertise that I insist they have seen that too. So.
Darrell?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm in favor of the commission, so don't get me wrong. But what I've been seeing, over the years I've been with the city, is that the city works mainly on hard numbers. You got your budgets, you got everything. We get estimates for doing road work. We work with numbers that are pretty high. And it just seems to me, and my problem is right now we want to work on speculation. We're going to do this. We're going to, maybe not. Hopefully you get 10 times more than what you're looking for, but that's not a fact. So I'm wondering why all of a sudden when we turn from we want to work with numbers that are that we can count on, to now it's kind of a speculation thing that we may get 20,000, we may get 155 years down the road. We don't know that. That's why I have the problem. I'm not saying I don't want commission. My whole thing is maybe we should wait a little bit longer so we can put more numbers together and say, okay, now we have a better idea of what kind of numbers we're going to have to work with. And we're not gonna be given $33,000 a year of budget out of the city because these guys are doing it. Now we know they can handle it.
Riley?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. That's a huge point, and I think a lot of us have come to terms with the fact that if this entity gets created, the 33,000 that was given to the tourism would be down to zero. It would be down to nothing. So the city is going to save. And now, if in the first year the numbers they're unstable, I fully admit we have no clue truly what those numbers are going to be. We really don't. That being said, it's going to be a smaller commitment than in the previous year, even if you did some sort of a stopgap guarantee, like whatever tourism will have their minimum that they needed from last year. put that number, because some revenues are definitely going to be coming in, some already have. Even in the worst case scenario, the city will be several $1,000s ahead by not having to fully fund next year's budget. And that for sure is gonna happen. I think it's just a question of what are those numbers, I think, you know, really competitive numbers are, real. And you're right, that's gonna happen, for sure.
Keith?
In a sense, Daryl, you're kind of holding this commission hostage for the unknowns. This is brand new, this is just happening and starting, the commission can't control how people decide to book the DVRs or their Airbnbs, they don't control that. So you're kind of holding hostage saying, I need proof of what this is gonna be, they don't control that. So the commission needs to get in place so that we have some ground rules set about how things need to be handled, what do we need to do going forward to build this thing and make common sense of it and have good rules with it. And I 100% agree, I'm a numbers person, you guys know I'm a numbers person. I 100% agree that we need absolute accountability. I mean, I gave you guys examples of, Susie Kane's accounting through the chamber. I gave you very detailed information on what she gives out every month. If that chamber is chosen as an entity that we're gonna work with, that is the kind of information you're gonna expect to see it to the T, what dimes are being spent across the board for that. So again, that is something that the commission will be accountable to make sure that those kind of financial information is being provided.
I'm not saying that you're not going to be accountable. What I'm saying is you don't know what you're going to be accountable for. You're going to be accountable for $100,000 or $10,000. I'm not saying you're not going to be accountable.
Okay.
You just don't know what you've got. So if you went down the line just a little bit further and group more figures together and now you know we got 2 quarters into this. That's all we got. So why are we getting rushed?
You had your hand up?
Yeah, basically, this commission would take the place of the tourism committee. They're redundant. They do the same thing. So once we get this commission going, even if we don't know what we're gonna do for money, they will still be taking the place of the committee, because they're redundant. Also, we meet on a monthly basis. You're worried about each month. It says right here, meeting minutes and financial statements will be presented each month. Without doing reporting obligations. Therefore, we would be getting the city council a copy of the minutes, I would believe, and of the state. And as far as the 5 people over there, or 4 or 6 people, that's state statute. 40%. So if you want to change the 3,000, I'm all for this, but we can get started. I mean, it's redundant to have a committee and try to get commission.
Right?
This, obviously, we've had a lot of discussion on this, and we're, you know, it is what it is, and we're at where we're at, so I'd like to just call a vote on this, so we can move on, and then if it passes, fine, if it doesn't, then we can.
Actually, we have to make a motion on that.
Yeah, I'm calling the vote, so I'm forcing the vote, because we've talked about this.
Okay, so Dan's motion, you want to repeat it?
That we hold off on the tourism commission until we have the room tax ordinance squared away.
Okay. Steve Donnelly,
No?
Bobby Breck,
No.
Riley Soul,
No.
Lori Spencer,
Yes.
Dan Zeller,
Yes.
Carol Anderson.
Yep.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
I got a question. If we keep putting off this commission in October, then we're gonna have to make a budget for the tourism committee. We're gonna have to do it. They're gonna get a budget because we have to act something, don't we? If we don't have a commission, we have to have a committee. Therefore, they need a budget. In October, it's coming, next month. Do we give them $33,000 again? I mean, this is what it's come to. This is basically just to create a commission, the tourism commission, and it's redundant with the committee does. We do the same thing the commission did.
I don't think this, but we can.
Is to hold up the amount, is to hold up more to the amount? Go ahead, Jim.
To me, it's not the amount. I think it's excessive, the $10,000, but to me, it's, like Bob says, still, the last week, we talked about still giving the commission the $33,000 plus.
You know, portion. Because they got money.
But to me, I'd like to know, I'd like the room tax sticks. And then we know, we'll have a better idea of what money is coming in. And right now, half the people are paying the room tax that should be paying it. And we have no knowledge of what is really going to be there. So I want the room tax sticks.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you guys want at the next committee of the whole, we can talk about the room tax ordinance and how that is, because that does need to be looked at. Obviously, for looking at doing commission, that ordinance is gonna have to change, because they contradict each other. So next meeting, we can look at this. Do you wanna look at this one as well, alongside with the room tax one, and discuss it again in the next meeting, or I guess what's the next step?
Go ahead.
Basically, that root tax, we have to follow state statute, right? So we have to follow state statutes. I just don't.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
If you are gonna wait till next month, I think that we just talk real quick and get some of this settled before next meeting. If you wanted to see a drop from, let's say, 10,000 to 3,000, if everybody's agreement, at least we know that's not a topic of discussion for your next meeting. And if one of the issues is with the members, whether it's through council and two, I'm in agreement. I think two's enough. I'm just speaking as a business owner and being on multiple committees. Every committee that I'm on and have been on in my 25 years, there's never been more council members than outside members. Because anything that gets voted on any committee, you guys get the final vote no matter what. So no matter what we vote on in public works or utility or plan commission, it comes to this committee, this council over here, and you guys can vote how you want to vote. And supersede how we vote in our committees. You know, so I'm okay with just having to, just speaking as a businessman. But again, because you guys are gonna get the final say no matter what, not us.
well, I don't think that's necessarily true. If it's a commission, they get to make their own decisions. That's the point of a commission. They can make their own decisions. So it would only come here if it was over 10,000 or 3,000 or whatever you guys decide.
Friday?
As with Dan, he's right, we should fix the tourism ordinance, the existing, like, 100% agree with that, we should go closer at that. At the next meeting, whatever, are you okay if we bring both up? I mean, is it okay if we bring both up next time, or we just at least have this option back on the table after we look at that other ordinance? Is that fair?
Why I brought it up in the beginning and had $1,000. We know a year in advance what's coming up. You know, all the events that are coming up. So there's no reason if November something's coming up and the commission wants to spend $3,000. There's no way you don't know about it until November, you know?
It was on a kiosk over, not an event necessarily, you know, something else that, you know, there's a lot of the other expenses that are just writing a check to some event. So there are some things that could come up, you know, this kiosk is going to be $1,000.
Well, yes, but it was known before.
That wasn't known a year, no.
No, but it was known more than a month ahead. Right? That's why.
Actually,
That's why.
Can I say something, folks? What if we make another motion? Bring that amount down to 3,000. Is everybody kind of okay with mayor picking two council people and the way that is? again, like Jeremy said, if you pick the amount at 3,000, if the commission wants to spend 5,000, it's gotta come to the council. They cannot spend more than 3 or whatever we choose. And I voted no because there's too much indecision. And it seems like the $10,000 was a big stopper in the beginning of the discussion. So what if somebody makes a motion that we drop it to 3,000 or 5, whoever wants to make the motion, and we move this commission forward? And I agree with your folks over here that we've got to get the tax, the room tax ordinance looked at. Brittany and I have talked about it, but the budget right now is kind of like, there's just too much on the plate. So to get this commission, and get it forming, so we can pick the members and start it moving forward, and go ahead, Brittany.
Well, we already have to move it to the next meeting, because that motion was passed. But I think if everyone's on the agreement that we're lowering that number, it's just one less thing we have to talk about it next week, you certainly can. But if everyone's in agreement that that number should be lowered, you can make the motion now and change that. Since everyone seems to be in agreement with it, it's one less thing to talk about, but you certainly don't have to.
Yeah.
I just want to make for clarity point, what concerns Laura has and what concerns Darrell has, as we address bans, to make sure that we don't stumble back around with something else again that we're trying to wade through. So you guys help us understand again what your concerns are, to make sure that we can address them appropriately and move forward.
I guess one concern I also have on top of it is something that Riley had said a little bit later, is that the Chamber of Commerce and also TEDCOR has not been to any of the tourism community meetings this year. How are we going to get them on board now with the commission to show up to these meetings when they don't have a vote and they don't have, they're just an advisory? So how all of a sudden, where are we going to get them back to this commission?
That will be my job.
We don't get a little voice where they currently don't have a voice, and that's why they stop coming to the public, they want to be heard.
Or will they have
Now
no
they'll
voice if they don't have a
vote.
vote though?
Well, there'd be an advisory.
Right, Jack Harvey doesn't have a vote on our committee, and he should, by being part of the conversation, it still matters.
Okay.
So
But
I
if they
can't,
haven't been here all.
I can't speak for them, I mean, that'd be a conversation that we would have to have with them, and I don't think we can force them to come. It would be my invitation to them to have a seat at the table. And you would think they would be eager to take that.
I will not mention any names. The individual I talked to wanted more togetherness between the city and the chamber. Now, where that got lost, I don't know, I don't care, but this will help to get that back. I believe, I truly believe that the chamber and the city should be working more together. And I find out today, the lieutenant governor of Wisconsin is coming in the next week or two, and I found it out from the chamber. You know, that should be stuff that we should be communicating together. So, again, as Brittany says, go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I just wanted to respect, the fact that Dan made that motion and it did pass, and that Brittany confirmed that. Because of that, I think today, that's how it needs to be. And I appreciate, you being open to looking at it again next month alongside that other ordinance, and not just shutting it down and just being more open to it. So I commend you for that, and thank you for being open for it. But I respect that, and I think that's kind of how that motion played out tonight. So I think we just try again next time.
Yes. Pam?
I don't think anybody's against the commission. I think it's just, we saw what the root tax did, we have to go back to that. I don't think anybody really wants to jump feet first with all the unknowns. We want to know what the root tax is gonna be, some kind of an idea. But I don't think anybody's against the commission. I think it's a great thing, having the control, the city people having, citizens having control.
Moving on. Number 10, discussion, action, recommendation on the following new business. 10A, approval of final resolution authorizing the special assessment against benefit the property owners in the city of O'Connell, O'Connell County, Wisconsin, Spies Road and Yuck Road.
Motion approved.
Bob LeBrecq,
Aye.
Riley Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Steve Donnelly.
Moving on to 10A, approval of original alcohol beverage license application for Copper Town Bar and Grill LLC located at 818 Main Street, and appointment of agency of Lacey Front.
Follows has different owners.
Proposed,
Make a motion.
I'll second.
Lori second.
Riley Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup. Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Steve Donnelly.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Okay, number C, approval of application for temporary Class B retailer's license from the O'Connell Kiwanis Club for Harvest Fest 2024 on September 28, 2024.
Make the motion to approve that temporary license.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Steve Donnelly.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Riley Soul.
10D, approval of proclamation of National Sea Tracks Pig Training Week. It's something we do every year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Steve Donnelly.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Riley Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
10E, recommendation from Plan Commission, approval of certified survey map for ALM Enterprises LLC and the city of O'Connell.
The survey map was reviewed by the county, any changes they had, the surveyor did make those changes, he's just combining those lots, so we can build the finding this county.
It's on the corner of Porter and Adams.
I'll make a motion to approve this, CSM, for the city of O'Connell.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Steve Donnelly,
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq,
Aye.
Riley Soul,
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup, Dan Zeller.
Aye.
10F, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of pay request from KCG Construction for Spies Road project. Go ahead, Drew.
Sure, everybody should have got a pay request number one for the construction project, I'll just walk you through it. So the first sheet is kind of a summary of the project. If you look over to the right, you see the original contract sum for the project of $762,408.50. And as you move down, total completed and started date, $127,542.22. Retainage of 5% at $6,377.11. Making the first payment due to the contractor of $121,165.11. And then just to break that down, if you turn to page 2, that's the utilities portion of that contract. So kind of there's a summary here for those items. For a total of $99,150, which is the responsibility of the utility. Do you have any questions on that page as far as what those items are? Kind of self-explanatory, relocating hydrants, valve repairs, and then manhole adjustments and readjustments in that project. Any questions on that page? Then the third page, it actually says water main up there, but it's actually public works. So total completed so far by public works is $28,382.22. And out of that 28,000 would be $11,234.72 would be the border excavation. The tracking pad, 2 tracking pads at a total of $2,400. 3,850 linear feet of silk fence at $7,507.50. and then the one lump sum for contractor staking of $7,250, for a total of $28,392.22. And then just to let you know, with the silk fence that contractor staking, which amounts to about $14,957.50, half of that will also be paid by the utility because that silk fence had to be put up on areas where we were doing hydrant removals and relocating those, and of course, the contractor staking was included for those locations too. So a portion of that would be coming out of the utility.
Make a motion to approve payment to KCG Construction.
I'll second.
Steve Donlevy,
Aye.
Bob LaBrus,
Aye.
Riley Sol,
Aye.
Lori Centra, Dan Zeller,
Aye.
Carol Anderson.
Aye.
10G, recommendation from Finance Committee, approval of accounts payable for the month of August 2024, in the amount of $316,287.50. Payroll for the month of August 2024 in the amount of $177,000, $155.56, and other financial reports as presented. Ethan?
Actually, I have a question prior to jumping onto that. The funding for this project, is this already in, do we have funding for this or we're bonding for this?
We have funding, between budgeted and carryover, and also we received an 80/20 grant.
No, that's a 50% grant to the, that's to the, LRIP programs in the DOT, that's a local roads improvement grant that we had written, I had written about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So once the project's completed, then we submit the final pay request to the state, and then they reimburse us for our 50%, which is eligible. So anything that's water related is not eligible for the utility, anything that is public works related, is eligible for that 50%. But yeah, they are budgeted numbers and monies available.
Good question. Back to 10G.
I'll make a motion to approve those accounts payable as stated.
Second.
Bob LaBrus,
Aye.
Riley Sol,
Aye.
Lori Centra, Dan Zeller,
Aye.
Carol Anderson,
Aye.
Steve Donlevy.
Number 11.
Motion to adjourn. All second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Christie, that's been done 3 years
Yeah.
already, for God's sake.
Is that for sale?
Well, we had it for sale, and I was putting an offer for it. We didn't have it, they never had a set price on it, it wasn't on the date, it was just basically. Someone wanted to make an offer on it, come in and make an offer for it, submitted to